Anybody remember this? From Pokemon Go way back in the day? The patch you got from Sprint when you hit level 40? Honestly, I feel like this is a symbol of Pokemon Go in the golden years. Yeah, the game just seemed like it was way more enjoyable and way more fun and thrilling to play back then when it was still kind of the new thing. All the new Pokemon coming out, seeing like random spawns in the wild. When raids were just starting to get hot and you see a bunch of people gathered around, a bunch of events that you can participate in, especially ones that encourage exploration and going to different places you haven't been to get huge bundles of XP. Or even those random little gathering at like PAX East, for example, or unowned spawn for like the first time. Now those were really fun. But you don't really get anything like that in 2024, do you? I know, I literally have said at least 3 or 4 times now, this is my last Pokemon Go video. I might as well just not say that anymore. Because I think I'm just done. And I'm like, alright, though, the game is basically at its worst. It can't get any worse. Oh, but it has. 2024, in not only my opinion, but a lot of other Pokemon Go trainers as well, have agreed that this year, or the year of 2024, has been the most egregious and gross year that Pokemon Go has ever made. I wrote an entire clipboard, yes, on a Discord message, I was just in a mood at a time, of 11 different bullet points. 11 different things off the top of my head, could be more, of what Pokemon Go has done over the course of 2024. Some of which are just annoying, and others have been downright despicably greedy. This is going to be another long one, and you can throw me on in the background or something if you just want to listen while you, I don't know, grind skills in RuneScape. Or at least that's what I do. So, let's go through the bullet points, shall we? I guess one of the biggest things that Pokemon Go has been doing lately, and this is just, this isn't the first time I've mentioned this, but it's only gotten more worse since the last time I have mentioned it, is the monetization. Almost every single event has some way that it's heavily monetized. And I don't want to hear that it's optional, you don't have to. Drop that immediately. I get that it's optional. But if it's so optional, I don't have the option to not have it in the game at all now, do I? But still, every single event has some paid premium ticket now. I know it may be just only $2 or only $5 for the extended events. But if you really see how many events they have every season or even every year now, we're pushing $150 worth of tickets. And this is including the big ones like Safari Zone and Go Fest and the tours, I guess, as well. Because those are $15 to $30. Now that I think about it, I don't think the Sinnoh Tour had a ticket. I didn't mention that in my previous video. However, they did have... Actually, no, wait. I lied. They did. It wasn't a mandatory ticket, but they had 2 pre-order bonus tickets. Both for $5 each. One for raids and one for eggs. The thing of it is with this, though, is that the tickets are starting to become less optional and kind of more of an obligation if you don't want to truly miss out on anything. Maybe there's some exception to that where they just throw you a couple of premium items or something and maybe a way to get things easier, but for some of these ones, it's previous bonuses that used to be free, like one Christmas we used to get a one-use incubator for the entirety of a week up until Christmas, but now that's behind a $5 paywall. For I think one of the monthly subscription stuff now for the season. And that used to be just a thing that they did to show appreciation to the fan base. Or the ability to open up more gifts. Again, used to be an event bonus, but now it's paywalled. Or how about just simple ones like ×2 Stardust for the duration of the event, or ×2 XP. Nope, that too is also behind a paywall. when they used to be just small perks just for participating and enjoying the dang game. Now, there was the option to do more raids and eggs for bonus content, but now even that seems like it's just mandatory now because some of the Pokemon are now locked behind these raids and eggs. I think I mentioned like Turtonator and I think Druddigan. Couldn't think of its name. Sorry, Druddigan, you're very forgettable. But now Dranpa was also another one too. And what's even worse about Dranpa is that it didn't even have a dedicated week all to itself. It shared the raids with the other two I mentioned. So it was even harder to get. But the only way to get it is by raids. Or doing those tasks that tell you to do raids anyway. That still irks me. But that's just scratching the surface. It's, I think, one of the biggest offenders, I suppose. Well, having everything paywall, but the premium ticket for benefits is kind of absurd. But one of the bigger ones was the Safari Zone, where they introduced Mighty Pokemon, which are really high-level Pokemon, most likely higher evolution Pokemon that you could find in the wild. And it was really cool seeing something that powerful. The catch rate is worse than the Galarian birds, though. Unsurprisingly. The only way around that is if you find these Safari Balls, which you did have the opportunity to find them for free, but they were extremely rare with Pokestop spins. And by extremely rare, we're talking like 1 out of 100 stops if you're lucky. The other way is by spending the $7 or $8 research. I don't even know what it is. We'll just say 7. But either way, spending money to get more Safari Balls. You get research every hour, I think, and then you get them. But either way, who cares how you get them, what the task entails. The point is, you were able to catch the mighty Pokemon much easier, not a heck of a lot easier, but much easier if you spent the money. Because there were some people that I've talked to that they didn't use Safari Balls, and they used like 20 plus Golden Raz Ultra Ball perfect curveball throw, excellent curveball throws, and they still didn't get it. The thing fled. That's absurd. That's insane. That's crazy. I said 3 different synonyms there, but you get my point. But I suppose I'm beating a dead horse at this point because how many times have I said this game is over monetized and the tickets are only going to get worse and worse, and then everyone keeps throwing the "oh, it's optional, I don't have to get it" excuse, and now they're like literally locking like certain bonuses and features and heck even Pokemon that premiere behind these. You don't buy the ticket, then you're busting doing raids to get them instead, or 7-kilometer eggs or whatever egg they're in at the time. And that's another thing too, is that a lot of the the special Pokemon now, I guess in similar with Dranpa's case, is locked behind raids and eggs. Legendary Pokemon, I understand. That has always been a thing since legendary Pokemon were introduced. And it kind of makes sense. Your team is taking down a legendary Pokemon. I can give that a pass to an extent just because that was something that has been established since raids were introduced. And I get that. But taking something that should have been wild and only putting it in 1 and 3-star raids doesn't fly. This stuff used to be in the wild. Maybe it was semi-rare and it was still harder to find them, but at least they existed. With the option of raids and eggs being a substitute. But now, the raids and eggs are basically substituting the entire thing. I think the Rookity event that's coming out in 2025, which, yeah, newsflash, the game hasn't gotten any better. It's only getting worse. It's already January. It's only January in 2025, and it's already getting worse. I might as well just say these 2 things specifically for 2025, just because, hey, it's on my mind before I forget, and I don't announce it at all in the video. But Rookity is now only available in 2-kilometer eggs. The only exception to that is if you use a magnetic lure mod, which costs 200 coins to get. It doesn't even last that long. I think it lasts an hour. I haven't played the game in a while, but I think it lasts an hour. But then now we have people saying that, oh, at least somebody else can put a magnetic lure mod and I can just get it that way. Great. Well, somebody has to buy it, huh? Or it's not as bad as 7-kilometer eggs. Sorry, where did we get to the point where it's not as bad as is acceptable? We're now praising Niantic for not getting screwed as hard, but we're still getting screwed? I don't understand that way of thinking, sorry. The point is, what I'm trying to make is that eggs and the lure mods should be an option, not mandatory. In the olden days, it used to be in the wild, but in the egg pool as a bonus. So maybe if you wanted to try to get a better IV one, the eggs helped with that. But you could still catch it and gain candies in the wild without having to jump through 7 hoops to get it. And to make matters even worse, there's a 5.5-day event coming up, and Corviknight has an exclusive move. Just adding more FOMO to the whole thing. Yeah, maybe the move isn't as good in PvP as it probably should be, but who knows if Niantic's going to buff the move or not? Never know. But the only way to find that out is to make sure that you have one before that event ends. Get grinding, boy. Although now that I think about it, it's oddly convenient that the $5 premium research has an elite TM in it. I wonder if you could get Corviknight's move that way. Makes a lot of sense now that I think about it. And the other thing that I had that comes across to my attention, actually 2 things, is the holiday event from 2024, which was honestly very sad. Not only was it quite boring, but a lot of the costume Pokemon that, again, used to be spawned in the wild previously, just like it should, but now they're exclusively to eggs and exclusively to raids. So, I guess you could use your free incubator and your free pass or whatever to get at least one of them, but if you're a shiny hunter, if you want to get one that's a decent IV, if you plan to use it at all, your options are extremely limited now, isn't it? Especially when the event only lasted a week, maybe 2 weeks at most. But the whole point is that it's still taking something that used to be in the wild and making it extremely hard to get it if you don't consistently pay. Because obviously raid passes and incubators outside of the one that you get, it's difficult to come by, and they rarely ever appear outside of premium boxes and passes anymore. And still, this is the holidays. The holidays, man! You were taking something that used to be just a generous gift to everybody. Hey, thank you for your support. Thank you for playing our game. And basically saying, screw you, where's our present? Give us money. That's literally what you're doing. It's terrible. And it's not player-friendly in the slightest. Again, there's nothing wrong with having these Pokemon in raids and in eggs in addition to the wild. So that way everybody has an opportunity to get it, or if they want to go the extra mile, they have the option to do so. But now it's just strong-arming you to grab your damn wallet and swipe that damn card. And the last thing I have to mention is Springatito Community Day. Community Days already were kind of questionable to me because ever since they introduced that $1 premium research, I always found that to be a little odd just because the whole point of Community Day is to, catch Pokemon in the wild with the community. Ever since they introduced that ticket and upped the price of the boxes because of those elite TMs in it, just seems more like Corporate Day than Community Day. And it's more apparent with Springatito Community Day in 2025 more than ever before. Niantic thought it was such a swell idea to tell the community, oh, by the way, premium tickets are $2 each now instead of $1. Now, what is the reason for this? Surely maybe there's more premium items or other things that you can do or whatever that give the value of the $2. No. You know what they did? They made the Springatitos have special backgrounds on their profile screen. So the reason why you doubled the price is for a freaking JPEG image behind the Pokemon. That's not even as good as a costume. Because at least with a costume, when you put it on a gym or use it in battle if you'd like to, other players can at least see it. But with the background, nobody can see that. It's valueless almost. It's just a weird FOMO tactic you're using, like, ooh, special background, get it. And the only other thing you really added was a premium pass and an XL rare candy. Apparently XL rare candies are that expensive now to you, and you didn't think it's worth that alone? And what's really funny about the whole, Community Day thing, and I didn't realize this until, last week before I recorded this, is as of late, the special, ticketed research, especially with Community Days, There's no cutscenes with Professor Willow anymore. It's like, that was at least one of the charming things. Is, okay, the cutscenes weren't revolutionary or anything, but at least they added a little bit of value to it. Like, you went on a small little adventure during Community Day. Now it's just a glorified task list. Like, okay, do the thing, get rewards. You selling battle passes now? Because that's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like a small little adventure anymore, because Professor Willow decided, whoops, sorry, they won't let me be in the game anymore. So, that's funny. So, not only are you not really getting that much stuff anymore, but they're more lazy with the whole thing too. Yeah, don't give them your money for this silly stuff. It ain't worth it. Pokemon Go clearly doesn't value your money because, well, yeah, you're getting less for more. But they don't value your time either, because FOMO and all this other stuff is, yeah, running rampant with this damn game. It's been that way for a really long time, and it's only getting worse. And nothing can be more apparent of them disrespecting your time than the Valentine's Day Unanimous Raid Day. Because holy crap. If you have, a life, you get punished. I'm not even joking. You work a normal 9-to-5 job, well, I guess you better make sure that when you get out of your work at 5, you find a raid before 6, or else you ain't getting it. It's just funny to me how Niantic not only punishes people who don't pay, but also if they're busy working or have a life or something, you get punished that way too. It's just absurd. Like, so far, Enamorous has only been that one raid day. And my common sense is also telling me that next Valentine's Day, they're going to do the same thing. And I'm not entirely sure. I'm not going to look it up right now, but let's just cross your fingers that it's on a weekday you're not working, or a weekend. So, like, it's just funny to me how, like, if you miss out on, like, certain events or community days or something, I mean, I guess community days have always been a thing, but a lot of these events take place in, like, the middle of the week with, like, maybe one weekend day, and you better make sure that you have, like, time free, especially when, or here's a really good one, Niantic really wants you to pre-order those darn tickets for upcoming events. But by the way, they're not refundable. So let's just say that you've bought the ticket for, I don't know, GoFest, I guess, or something like that, in advance. And then you realized, oh shoot, I have to go to a funeral because someone in my family died. Well, Niantic says, tough noodles. I guess your family member shouldn't have died because now you miss out on it and we steal your money. That's a really dark way of looking at it, but this just proves my point that Niantic just expects you to have so much free time dedicated to this game. It's screw your life. This game is your life. You don't, like, consistently have time free, you miss out on content. You don't consistently pay up those tickets, you miss out on content. And that's where this game is heading. And it's terrible. Especially with the Safari Zone, with, like, missing 70% of content. GoFest itself is an absolute joke if you don't pay up the money. The Kanto Tour, I mentioned this years ago, I tried to enjoy it. The reason why I didn't buy the ticket is because I was working on Sunday. So I didn't buy the ticket because I was only getting, like, half the time. So I'm like, all right, Saturday, I'll at least try to participate in it the best I can. There was nothing to do in the game. There was, like, nothing. Like, or nowadays, where Niantic says one of the free perks that you get is unlimited remote raids. How is that a free perk when the remote passes are $2 a piece? Yeah, you have the ability to get as many as you want, but you can't list that off as something that everyone can do when it's still paid. Maybe it's not paid specifically to the ticket, but it's still a form of payment you're seeking from people. And it's just so astounding to me how greedy Niantic is now. And you know what's really, really funny? Have you ever been on the Pokemon Go website recently? If you ever want to see where Niantic's intentions truly lie, Just go anywhere on the Pokemon Go website. No matter where you go on the website, you will see an unremovable ad to go to their web store. Think I'm kidding? No. Go to the home page, web store. Go to the updates section, web store. Go to the leaderboards, web store. It's comical. It really is. Like, you can't make this up. Oh, and it's one of those ads, too, that no matter where you scroll, it follows you. And there's no way to close it. That web store is literally what Niantic wants you to focus on the entire time. Every single, like, update or event or something, you scroll to the bottom, it tells you all the bonuses with the web store. Well, in addition to that ad that follows you. So that's technically 2 ads on that page. What the hell? But not only that, but now Niantic has a loyalty program. I forget what it's called, but Niantic has a loyalty program where you earn points the more you spend money on the damn web store. And it resets every month too, which is, of course. But if you want all of the perks, which is a bunch of bonus items, stickers, etc., they expect you to spend almost $500 a month. Now, most people are saying, okay, these are just rewards that really don't have much value or whatever. Why should I care? That's true. I do agree with that. But this is less enticing people to spend more money and more of a wink and a nod to those who already spend a butt ton of money. Niantic's basically subtly saying, you guys, we appreciate you the most. You guys matter only. Everybody else, screw them. They're freeloaders. And something like that irks me a lot, just because there's people that have been with the game since 2016. 8 years and counting. And maybe they have spent money here and there, but nowadays, Niantic's looking at them like, well, that was last year. Where's our money now? It's disrespectful, man. You guys are like treating your loyal players like garbage because they ain't spending money on a pass every week or buying a bundle of incubators every time there's an egg hatch event. Or when a raid event comes out, you're like, we increased the amount of remote raids you can do. Why can't you do that? It just comes across as just greedy and disgusting. And just downright rude. I mean, one person pointed out, I'm not going to mention their channel name, but they gave a good point, where, hey, a lot of content did appear in 2024. And I highly agree with that. But the other thing that they mentioned is that the majority of the content were paid tickets. I suppose if you're already a paying customer and consistently pay at the game anyway, yeah, you do have a lot of content. Even the quality of life improvements that they've made, they're all for raids. Funny, huh? I mean, if you do raiding regularly, that's great. But what about the people who are still complaining about the Go Battle League to this day? What about some of the bugs that have been in the gym battles for years? Like that one that gives you error 24 if you knock a Pokemon out, exit to heal your Pokemon and go back in, and it keeps erroring you out with that you completed the battle already message. That has been in the game for 7 years. And it still hasn't been patched. You know why? Because they don't make money off that. They didn't make money off the Go Battle League either. I don't know if it's still in the game as a time of recording, but there was a game-breaking bug with the Go Battle League where some people were making other people crash because of the avatar clothing they were wearing, and they were getting automatic wins from it, making them go from rank 1 and skyrocketing to, like, the legendary rank within, like, a week. Like, that stuff should be patched in the game. But Niantic doesn't make any money, theoretically, on the Go Battle League. Maybe they make money for like the raids and eggs or whatever that people hatch to get the Pokemon that are battle ready for the league. But that's the thing. That's raids and eggs where their focus is. But the Go Battle League itself, that's just a side mode or whatever. Okay, there's a leaderboard for it, but like if they actually cared, they wouldn't put an advertisement for their web store on the damn webpage, would they? Oh yeah, I mentioned the avatar clothing, huh? what the actual hell happened with the avatars, Niantic? It's funny how nobody really talks about this anymore, but this is like one of the most controversial things of the year back when it happened. I still haven't forgot it. I'm afraid to know what my avatar looks like, and I ain't installing Pokemon Go to figure it out. This is something that was like overwhelmingly criticized, and people begged Niantic to not go through with it. But Niantic didn't really care, and they just stuck with it anyway, just because I guess their beliefs or whatever, their way of doing it, is more important than customer feedback. Now, I wouldn't be so irritated with this, but there is a couple of things that really bug me. Some of the avatar items and the avatar poses don't work anymore, or they don't work as intended. There's a bunch of clipping with some of the outfits, depending on how your character is now. And for some character models, certain emotes or stances straight up just don't work. And Niantic hasn't fixed it, and I guess apparently don't plan to fix it because it's been how long now since the character update and it's still happening. But you know what does work with the avatars? All the new stuff that they keep releasing. Oh, imagine that. You know, this it's so funny. Oh, does your stuff look absolutely horrible? Well, why don't you try this stuff instead? It's only like $7. Oh, did you already spend like $30 updating your character? I mean, that was in 2022. That was a long time ago. You need a remodel right now. Go to the web store right now and save 10% off. I suppose the last update that they have, and no, I'm not going to use this is the biggest update they have pun. Screw that. I'm not stooping to their level. Is the Dynamax raids and the Gigantamax raids. This is a borderline scam in my opinion. Because, like, all of the Pokemon that you have built up with your account up until that update released are not even usable. You're basically starting from scratch again to get qualifiable Pokemon for these raids. Dynamax ready Pokemon. So, like, all of that candy and Stardust that you invested into, you're going to have to redo it all over again to make a good team for Dynamax raids. Which may not seem like a big deal right now, but it's already been data mined that legendary Pokemon are coming to Dynamax raids. And something tells me that certain legendary Pokemon will never be in a regular raid again, or at all if it's their debut, and will only be in Dynamax raids going forward. So, either way, soon enough, players, if they want to complete their decks, are going to be forced to participate in these Dynamax raids. So, get a bunch of Stardust and XL candies and grind out those raids. It wouldn't be so difficult if the whole system wasn't so convoluted. The particles are very expensive. It's far more expensive than just the regular raids. Because not only that you need some of these max particles to participate in any of the Dynamax/Gigantamax raids, but you also need the particles to power up your Pokemon as well by using those particles to earn new moves and abilities for the Dynamax raids. Because without these upgrades, it is extremely difficult, if not impossible, to even win in some of these. And the Gigantamax raids are absolutely insane. 800 particles you need just to enter. And they're expecting almost 40 people to be joining these? Well, I guess if you live somewhere that's not a city, you're screwed. I suppose rural players have always got the short end of the stick now that I think about it. Because they're forced to do the remote raids because a lot of them have to drive miles just to get to a regular gym, and it's not like they can see what raid is there from the beginning, except maybe with the Campfire app. I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't know how that app works, but I don't know if that's one of the things where it automatically tells you what raid is there, or if people have to announce the raids there before it shows up on the map. Again, I don't know. But either way, they still have to drive a long way just to get to these places. So the only way really that's viable is the remote raid passes. Yeah, it sucks that you have the nerf with you can only do 5 a day, but they're still $2 a piece. So those who don't have a bunch of people in like a big city or a bunch of gyms that actually have the opportunity to do these raids, well, they're being punished for it. Again, this is like a you don't follow our rules sort of thing, or you don't do exactly what we tell you or play the game exactly how we want. Screw you. That's basically how it is. And it's even worse with the Dynamax/Gigantamax raids, because now there are these $4 max mushrooms to boost your Pokemon if they're not strong enough. If you don't have a bunch of people around, because these raids can't be done remotely, so if you don't have a giant group of people and you're just shy of being able to beat that Gigantamax Pokemon, these max mushrooms are 400 coins. Guess you better consume those and get to it. I understand that some people are telling me, oh, you don't have to get... Again, I'm not even bothering with that. Maybe for you specifically, you don't have to. But then again, you're one of the lucky ones. There are some people out there that aren't as fortunate as you. And the max mushrooms are the only way for them to participate in it. The max particles themselves are like 250 coins. So if you don't have a lot of like dens or whatever the heck they're called, or max spots, just to gather up the energy, which already takes a while, and then you have to buy the particles and then the max mushrooms just to do once, we're talking like almost $7 a raid. That is absurd. Why does it need to be that expensive? I guess for everybody else, I guess they could just walk around the city and just gain everything they need that way, even though there still is a hard cap on the particles anyway. Like, the whole Dynamax thing is just, it's borderline scam at this point. It really is. Like, it's just an over-monetized, an overly complicated system. It's like, oh, what do I spend my 800 max particles on? Do I invest those particles to do a raid just to get a Pokemon, or do I dump those particles into a sacrifice doing a raid and dump them into a different Pokemon just to power up for the next raid? It's even more restricted than the remote raids. And this even brings back my point to the Safari Zone event as well. If you're not paying for the max particles there, sure, the cap has been doubled so you can earn 1,600 particles for that entire event. But let's be real. By the time it takes you to grind out those particles, the people who are already like busting out those max raids, they're going to be done within like an hour, maybe 2. So by the time you like rack up a bunch of particles, they're gone. And who are you going to raid with after that? Guess you should have taken a deal of that huge bundle of particles at the web store, huh? This game is absolutely horrendous now, and I'm so glad that I quit it. Like, I thought the whole Pokemon Go hates you unless you're a whale video that I made last year, I thought that the examples in that were bad enough, but it's like that in addition to now this. Like, we don't need to have every event have a premium ticket now. It's like, I understand that sometimes it's just an optional goodies or whatever. Still, whatever happened to just catch Pokemon, have fun? Well, maybe the addition of eggs and raids. But now it's just like, egg event, raid event, egg event, raid event, premium ticket. It's like Pokemon Go is just becoming insanely expensive just to even have any enjoyment out of anymore. And it seems like if you don't participate in most of this stuff, then you're missing out on like so much of the game that used to be enjoyable way back then. And of course you have all of that FOMO, fear of missing out, as well, when you notice 3 of your friends bought the ticket and you only gain like 25% of the stuff that they can. Oh, you miss out on lucky trades. You miss out on additional raid passes. You miss out on a special storyline. And who knows if that special Pokemon is going to be coming back anytime soon. I guess maybe we'll try in 2027. Yeah, it sucks. And I think Niantic kind of knows that the most of the player base is kind of hightailed it out of there, including myself, because I'll be honest, Niantic, I dumped like a couple $100, maybe even $300 into this game when it first came out. And it wasn't just because of the tickets and stuff. It was just because, like, I had a lot of fun with a lot of the bundles and stuff, I guess. Because back then, the bundles were actually, like, good discounts. Not like that premium was it the legendary box that came out with like $35 worth of incubators for $40, but then in addition you got 4 elite TMs because apparently you think those are worth $10 a piece. But the point I'm trying to make is that Niantic doesn't care about the players. They care about the payers. Those who are already whaling to the nth degree. Or I guess the $500 degree, because that's what you get when you're with the rewards program. Oh, that's right. I almost forgot one bullet point. Niantic's selling your data. I knew I was almost forgetting one. Yeah. Remember all those like AR scans and stuff? And hey, we're improving the Pokemon Go experience by limiting remote raids so you can like get out and play the game as intended. They wanted your location data. You know, the thing I said from the beginning. And now they're using those AR scans and the location data to not only sell to third parties, but also to train AI. Lovely. I guess data is the most expensive thing here, so that's the thing that they care about the most. You know, besides the whole, like, raids and eggs and premium tickets. But yeah, it just goes to show that Niantic doesn't really care about its players as much as it used to. I mean, who knows, maybe they didn't care at all and they were just making a facade the whole time up until the inevitable time that they would screw everybody. And it sucks, too, because like I said before in my previous video, the concept of Pokemon Go is still good to this day. Having the entire world be your map, be your gameplay. Like, physically going places for, like, certain events. Or at least I guess you can't really do that much anymore like you used to, but if there's anything I could say that should be paid, is the actual in-person Go Fest. Because that actually takes money to make reservations of a certain place, set everything up. I understand that. I was never against those paid tickets, because that actually gave a reason as to why those should be paid. It's like going to an actual theme park, for example, and it takes money to set that up. So I get that. That's perfectly fine. But I think ever since the whole global ticket, where basically everybody had the option to do it wherever, they noticed how much money they made off of that and just made that the primary focus from that point on. So it was an interesting idea that had some really bad after effects. Because now, they just think every event is worth a price tag now. In reality, it's not. I shouldn't have to pay $2 for, like, things that I should just be getting as a bonus. I guess we'll never ever have a golden age of Pokemon ever again. I guess that moment is behind us. It really stinks to just admit that the game isn't fun anymore. And I've mentioned this with Pokemon Unite recently, where you have the sunk cost fallacy. I did many times. That's the reason why I quit, came back, is because I guess it is slight addiction, but also it's really difficult to admit that a game you've been playing for so long just isn't as enjoyable anymore. And instead of just giving up and admitting that everything is just all for nothing, which sucks, that sometimes you're just stubborn, or at least I was stubborn, and just tried to squeeze every bit of enjoyment and positivity out of the game. That's where all the, oh, it's not as bad as claims come from. Because you're looking for more fun to be had in the game. It was fun before, and you're looking for any excuse to have that level of fun again. Even though it's denial that it probably never will be that fun ever again. Because where Niantic's intentions lie is just not player-friendly anymore. Some people are saying that Pokemon Go is a sinking ship, and that the 10th year might be its last, the way things are heading. To be fair, they are running out of Pokemon that they can use for their game, so I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do after that, except maybe the new Mega Evolutions that are gonna be coming out in Legends ZA and maybe Generation 10. But other than that, once the well of new Pokemon runs dry, inevitably, what are they gonna do after that? There's not many options left now, is there? Maybe that's the main reason why Niantic is milking the player base for everything that they got. But either way, shouldn't be doing it. Because really, this is just a slap to the face to everyone that's been super loyal up until this point. Pokemon Go would not be as successful as it is without the loyal players that made it that way. And when you keep disrespecting them and telling them, pay up or get out of here, and they pick that second option, and you got nothing left, what's going to happen? So maybe Niantic, think twice. Actually treat your players like actual valued players. Not saying get monetization out of the game entirely. It's a free-to-play mobile game, and I get that. But, like, maybe and treat the actual players as, you know, players and not freeloaders. Well, I know this is a long video, and I thank you for sticking out to the very end, but hopefully... Why am I bothering going to say that sentence? Jum, stop. Don't say that, because you say hopefully this is my last Pokemon Go video, but you know damn well I'll be back soon enough. Post-Jum here. I was just joking a while ago saying something about, oh, this looks like a battle pass. And I just, as the time of recording, Niantic just updated Go Tour 2025 with the new Tour Pass. And if you look at the screenshot for what the Tour Pass looks like, there's a free track and a premium track. And there's a way to buy the premium track for $15. And it's a whole ranking system, just like an actual battle pass. These bastards actually did it. It's gone down to now basically copying Fortnite. You just couldn't help it, could you? And if you want any more evidence that this is a battle pass, if you spend $5 more, you can skip 10 tiers. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, okay. If there's any more proof that 2025 is not going to get any better, there's your reason. Screw this game.